Welcome to Dirkson Photography. My name is Jannis Dirksen. Today we took some pictures in the park and we did something different. I have the Canon 6D here with the Sigma 35mm art lens, and what we did today, I gave my camera to a friend who only takes pictures on holidays. So it might be the first time that she actually had to shoot with the prime lens, the 35mm, and she took some pictures of us and I gave her the camera, put the settings so they're all done in manual mode. You see here 1,250th of a second, f2.0, and the setting is always the same here. I chose the settings and then I gave her the camera, and she took some pictures of us, and I think it's very interesting because she's not a photographer, she's not a professional, and she took some beautiful pictures of us. Of course we worked with the light. I know where the light comes from and how to use it for photography, and it doesn't matter if I'm in front of the camera or behind it because from experience I know how the face will be lit in which light. And I thought I would just show you the images straight out of the camera. And it's a nice way to for one part get nice pictures of you and your girlfriend without having to use a tripod or to do selfies. And it's a great way for others to learn. So she took pictures with two cameras, the 6D with the 35mm lens, which we look at now. All these images are 35mm. Now, let me just see. I don't know if I got the camera sharp. Let's now see. I mean the camera that's recording. Yeah, I think it's fine. And let's just go through some of the images. Now here I took the images of Anna, and let's just skip through. Now Anna saw some beautiful light here on the ground, and we just she saw it and she said, take a picture of me. I sit down and here was the light, the sunlight coming through, and she was right. It was really nice, well lit. Okay, I will just skip through. Okay, so I will zoom in so you can see, have a better look at the images. This is in the shadows. Now the white balance is rather cold here, which means the images are very cold and blue, but that doesn't matter. I can change that in the post production, but I really like these images. Now, photography should always be fun for both sides. The person in front of the camera, in this case it's Anna and I, and the person behind the camera. And I found it very interesting to give somebody a camera who doesn't usually do photography, and to find out what comes out of it. So you see all the images, not just some, but all. You see here, for example, all these images are very cold. I don't like the white balance at all here. It's too cold. Now this is too cold. Then I changed the white balance. We can see it here. Now it's AWB, which means automatic white balance. Now here it's shadows. I would put it like this. This is automatic. This is shadow. Automatic, shadow. And I like these colors much more. They are really warm. They have a beautiful autumn touch to it. And of course not all the images are in focus. So I always have the camera focusing on the middle point of the camera. When she's not used to it, the person, our friend who took the images. Of course there are images that are out of focus, but that's totally fine. It's just I think there are still some great images here, and I really very rarely have images where I am with Anna together. And so this is a nice way to get images without having to get a photographer, is to ask somebody, a friend, if he or she would like to learn a little bit, and you give her the camera and say whatever you know about photography, light, composition, focus, and I put the settings up. It's always the same settings. Here we are 1.6 at 1/400th of a second, so that's always the same until I look at the camera again and decide to change it. Okay, now this was the Sigma 35mm lens. You just see. Now we can take a look at the second camera, the 135mm lens. So let's just skip it. So here is the, now you can see it is very dark, but here are the two cameras. It's both Canon 6D. And now we look at the 135mm lens. I just have to get this a little bit sharp. Okay, is it sharp? Maybe. Now these images are a little bit too bright. Alright, put this down. That's better. Now the 135mm lens is a lens I really like, but if you're not used to shooting prime lenses, it might be very difficult for you to work with it. Now our friend took some really nice images of us, and I thought we just go through. Now here was something obvious that I saw was the light. She wanted to have the water in the background. I knew where the light was coming from, which was from the water. So all these images are, you don't see the water because the sun is coming from this side. Here is the water, and she took the images so the light is nice. Now she wanted to stay on the left side because on the right side is the water. And what happened, what was obvious when you study light is this. So the faces are totally dark. Now you can work with it with silhouettes like this. So our faces are dark, but that's totally fine because the body posture makes the image right here. And you don't see the eyes, and you don't really see much detail in the face, but you see the body posture and how the bodies are forming a heart, and you see the background a little bit, the water. And I decided that we look at each other. We don't look at the camera because I knew when we look at the camera, this is what's going to happen, this. And without a reflector or flash, that is not a great image. So when we look at each other, the silhouette is very nice. Okay, let's go through. So we were just walking through and took a look at the places, and then we decided to take some images or not. So these images are not all perfect, and they don't have to be. A friend was taking the images, and I always edit images, so if it's too bright, if it's too dark, it doesn't really matter. Sometimes the focus isn't well, that's also fine. That's also fine. But I think it's very interesting what you can get out of the camera, even without knowing it so much. And this is a very nice philosophy behind it. Behind an image is just do it. You don't have to be a great photographer to get great images. You can just start and learn. And this is what you can get. Now, of course, the camera plays a part, and the light, of course, and the people. Now, we had very nice dresses. Anna had a very nice dress. I had my jacket, which fit the colors of the backgrounds. And we, of course, work with our facial expressions, so a lot of smiling and touching each other. But I think it's very interesting that I'm really happy with the images, and she didn't know the camera. I gave her the camera and said, here's the button, push it, and just take images. And it doesn't matter what comes out of it, just have fun. Don't be afraid to fail, just do it. And do it your way. So hopefully I like the images too, and I do. And so for example, here's to me it's too much headroom here. There is a lot of space over the heads, and I would put the camera a little bit more down so I see more of the body, but that's totally fine. I can cut it a little bit here and then everything is fine. So yeah, I think that's it. So now we've taken a look at these both cameras, these both Canon 6Ds, and the images that we took today. And maybe this motivates you to just start shooting. Get a couple. You don't have to be a super duper photographer professional. Just have fun. And if you are a photographer and you want great images of you and your girlfriend, just give your camera somebody else and teach him or her a little bit in that moment how to work with the camera and how to get great images out of it. That's it.